The future of Bitcoin building is on Internet Computer Protocol because Bitcoin right now, 99+% of the transactions happen directly on third parties, which greatly diminishes the value of the network. But Internet Computer Protocol has the absolute best Bitcoin layer 2. But now there's a superpower coming out on Internet Computer where you're having Caffeine AI and a Bitcoin layer 2 in the same environment. Very soon, you are now going to be able to build your own Bitcoin apps, whether you want to build a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin meme coin launcher, Bitcoin DeFi, Bitcoin game. You're going to be able to build all that directly with AI. So you're not going to need to pay developers a whole bunch of money to make an app. If you have an app idea, you'll be able to make that. Imagine being able to play poker with your friends. Now, I don't gamble, and I've struggled with gambling addiction in the past. I'm glad I haven't placed a bet in a long time. But yeah, let's say you want to play poker with your friends and you want to play on the blockchain so it's provably fair and you want to gamble with Bitcoin. What Caffeine AI is going to do soon, from what I can see, is you're going to be able to tell Caffeine AI, make me a Texas Hold'em poker website where you sign in with internet identity and where you place your bets with Bitcoin. And what you're going to be able to do is then take your Bitcoin and you're going to be able to play poker with it with your friends on a provably random blockchain with no rake at all. And you could even scale that up if you wanted to. And that, to me, that's the future of technology. And I'm doing this live right now. I'm live as I'm recording this. I'm playing some Call of Duty on YouTube and Twitch and talking about this because what I see the future, if you want to build with Bitcoin, Bitcoin builders especially really care about decentralization. And right now, it's difficult to build any kind of application that has real utility for Bitcoin that's not centralized. Because right now, what almost nobody holding Bitcoin understands is that almost everybody who interacts with Bitcoin does so through a centralized third party. For example, if you're trading Bitcoin runes or ordinals, the website you're doing that on is a centralized third party, which means you're not even actually interfacing with the blockchain yourself. A third party is completely between you and the blockchain. Same issue if you are doing something like buying Bitcoin on a crypto exchange. You don't even know if you're buying real Bitcoin because you're going through this centralized third party on there. And if you want to make apps right now, it's very difficult to try and integrate your Bitcoin into any kind of DeFi app or any kind of application that's not totally controlled on a third party. Right now, literally the only way to do that is Internet Computer Protocol. And what you're seeing is that Bitcoin developers are discovering Internet Computer Protocol is the best place to build a truly, the best decentralization and security that you can possibly have in a Bitcoin app. So what you're getting is a lot of Bitcoin builders are building right now on Internet Computer Protocol, but Caffeine AI has not come out yet. And right now, still, it's hard to build a Bitcoin app that has any real decentralization or security behind it unless you build on ICP. And it's hard to do that because you have to learn how to build on ICP. But with Caffeine AI coming out, that's going to change everything. And anybody now will be able to just code some kind of Bitcoin app through vibe coding, through talking to Caffeine AI, which will build out the front end and the back end for you, fully on chain, and you'll have a direct website URL you can give to somebody. So this is so much easier than trying to make an app on the App Store. Like, you just can't appreciate how easy this is unless you've tried to actually build your own app. But most people have never tried to build their own app. Imagine, for example, you want to build a hyper-local version of Uber or Lyft. You could do that now with Caffeine AI. You could say, hey, make me a local version of Uber or Lyft, and I want everybody to be able to pay with Bitcoin and ICP. And then you could build that. You could own that. And then you could promote it, and you could just use it with your friends or with your family members, or you could start promoting it and getting, local drivers and stuff out. And this, to me, is where, if you're going to have any real usage of Bitcoin, you're going to have people being able to easily build apps with it. Because right now with Bitcoin, all you've got is narratives and centralized third parties holding everything. You got people talking about how Bitcoin is digital currency, but what you don't have is people actually making transactions with, rarely do people make Bitcoin transactions that are directly on the blockchain. Almost everybody is making transactions through a third party, like a crypto exchange. And in that case, the crypto exchange, if they're not honest, is selling extra Bitcoin they don't even have. It's extremely unsustainable for the long term, and it drains the value. So once you can start building Bitcoin apps yourself, then that's going to give a whole lot more utility to what you can actually do with Bitcoin besides just let it sit on an exchange. Now, in the short term, I think ICP and Caffeine AI and people easily building all these Bitcoin apps with Chainkey Bitcoin is going to be very bullish for internet computer, well, for Bitcoin and for Bitcoin DeFi and for internet computer protocol. But to me, in the long term, once you start building stuff on ICP, you're going to start to wonder why you even need Bitcoin anymore. It's like, well, if I can build this application on ICP, then why not have ICP instead of Bitcoin? And that's the point I'm at now. It's like, I don't see the point of even having, I don't see the point in having Bitcoin, because I'd rather just have ICP. With Bitcoin, you're just hoping the price goes up, and you can't get any staking rewards directly on it. And this is why the fees are expensive to transact it. And this is why almost everybody who's holding Bitcoin is just doing so on a third-party exchange. They're not even actually holding it in their own crypto wallet. And that's a huge problem, because if that's how you're holding your Bitcoin, you don't even know if you have real Bitcoin or not. But what I see the future is a transition where people are going from Bitcoin to holding on exchanges to building their own Bitcoin apps. But then the end game to me is building on ICP. Once you start building on ICP, to me, that makes it, you're not gonna even need Bitcoin anymore. But in the short term, I think Bitcoin DeFi could really take off, because Bitcoin has the branding and everybody knows about Bitcoin. And then when you're building apps, for example, where you can build like some Bitcoin DeFi app, that's going to get people on board a lot easier if they have the Bitcoin branding. So what's going to happen, I think this cycle, is ICP is really going to go nuts, but it's part of ICP going nuts is going to be with Bitcoin, with people building all these apps with Caffeine AI that have Bitcoin integrated, because Bitcoin has the name recognition. But long term, what I see happening is it's all going to transition just to ICP. I think Bitcoin is going to have diminishing returns as more people, in the short term, it could create a significant amount of scarcity for Bitcoin. As you start moving some of the Bitcoin off of all these centralized exchanges, you start moving it onto ICP to use for all these apps. That could actually pump Bitcoin quite a bit in the short term. But in the long term, to me, ICP is going to vastly outperform Bitcoin. But I think in the short term and the foreseeable future, they're going to be able to have a lot of growth together. And it's ideal to be aware of and use both of them, for sure. And if you're into Bitcoin, to me, you absolutely want to be figuring out what is Internet Computer Protocol, because that's, to me, is the best chance of having any real Bitcoin decentralization, having Bitcoin apps that are not just controlled by third parties, and that can, to me, ICP is the network most like Bitcoin, where Bitcoin's like a proof of concept. It shows you what's possible, but ICP does everything you really want a blockchain to do. So I'm really excited to see the future. I think we have so much to look forward to in Internet Computer Protocol, in having Bitcoin apps that are just not totally centralized third parties, and having more things you can actually do with your Bitcoin besides just trade it on some centralized exchange and hope the price goes up. I think this is going to be a really exciting time to be in both, although I think the returns are going to be better on ICP, but we'll see. The main message, though, I think if you're excited about the future of Bitcoin, you need to be researching ICP, because this is where the amount of building, this is where the vast majority of Bitcoin building is going to happen going forward. It's going to be on ICP. So if you enjoyed this video, I recorded it while live streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.